I'm sure you all know why I called a meeting, and you're indeed correct. After discussions with most of you, we've decided to attack Silverath this winter. We're hoping that the cold will drive many bandits back north so they're weakened. Danders is the only one who's visited the city, so we'll rely on his knowledge here.
Thank you, Ryo. Silverhearth is a fortress city, one of the smaller in the area but still strong. I believe that a smaller band of our greatest fighters is the best way to capture it. For now we must prepare for whatever we face.
Keep an eye on Ryo Morgan and his band for me. I suspect they know something we do not, especially after their raid on Dux's lair.
What happens when we find Dallaire and Milteg?
I hope something good. The Horns have been far too quiet since our raid on Dux's fortress.
I honestly don't know. I've never even heard of him.
Come soon, Ryo. I will complete the training Dux has started with you, and our world will be all the better off with another Guardian in it. Now come, Apostas. I need you to assist our friend Ryo Morgan.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the 13th episode of the Medieval Rimworld series. As we open back up today's episode, the dragon that we had captured and had Chalcedon try to tame again has decided to attack us. We would send our fighters in, taking him down once again, and once again allowing Ryo to rescue him. This time we'd move him to a separate building and have Nora begin tending to him. We felt this room was a little bit nicer, so maybe he'll like it in here more. We realised shortly after that the rescue hadn't tamed him, so we'd let Ryo continue to tend to him in the hopes that this would cause a bond between them. And finally, in Ryo's mercy, he would bond with Ryo. And we will certainly need a name in the comments befitting of this titan of a dragon. Ryo would come in and feed his newly bonded friend, deepening their connection even further. We would also then have another growth moment for Robert, where he would gain passions in intellectual and melee. Along with that, he also became beautiful. But his beauty won't save him from some of the crazy raids we've been having recently. However, some arcane defenses might, which is why we're going to start researching them. We'd also get our miners focused on mining some jewels for these defenses, as well as some more arcane weapons. Gathering rubies, as I think they fit with the red ideology colour really well. But while we wait for all that, we decided to accept this quest from House Oswin to take out some bandits that they've tracked not too far from our base. For some goodwill with their faction, that is. Ernest, Dux, Carson, Ryo, and his new dragon would all head out, giving him a chance to test out our new tame's abilities. And, we finished our arcane defense research before our people even headed out. Seems like they're taking an awful long time to start this caravan. But with that research finished, I thought giving us some good communication with potential allies would be the next really helpful thing on the list. So I decided to go with some carrier bird research. When our group did finally get off their butts and arrive at the attack with House Oswin, we could see that from afar the battle had already begun. I think they got sick of waiting for us, to be honest. Our people would begin to move in to assist our allies. One bandit would go for Carson, but Duck spotted him, knocking him out while Ernest would use his magic to help. By the time our people had arrived at the battle centre, it was basically over with only a few Oswin troops finishing off the last bandits. We would take a couple of prisoners that we thought were pretty good, that we can hopefully reform and send out to our camps. While our people were on the way back, I realised it had been a full 6 years in-game since we first arrived at Old Myers. I have the Days Matter mod installed, so I'd try setting a celebration for this, but for some reason the mod only recognises when we arrived at the Hold, not when we arrived at Old Myers. Nevertheless, we'll put a celebration for that date. Not too long later, we had an arcane items trader come in from the Gillifra Order. These people had a behemoth dragon with them, as well as a couple of anima colossus, which was quite the flex, I must say. I've been waiting for some of these guys to arrive for a while, as they sell tomes that will allow our magically gifted pawns to take up magical classes. So of course we would have Velen head out and begin to trade with them. We'd purchase a paladin tome, a dolomancy tome, and a mage spell of invisibility, which I think the mage spell can be learnt by any magic class, as they're similar to psycasts from the base game, if I'm not mistaken. Now, today's just been a huge day for Ryo, as he would finally take up a magical class, becoming a paladin, which I think is fitting. He's a holy and powerful man, but now has the abilities to back up his character. Dux, you may not have known is magically gifted, would then read the Golomancy tome, giving him the ability to utilize golem magic. I thought this fit his good crafting ability, as he'll need to craft the golems that he raises. And right on cue, some raiders from the bandit clans have arrived to siege us, which will give us a great chance to test out some of our new magical abilities. I'm starting to think the game can hear me and has been listening to my pleas for smaller raids, as this one was mostly manageable with just Ernest and his wolves, as well as a little bit of lightning. We would get a chance to see Ryo's new Valiant charge ability, as he didn't want to allow too many bandits to get away. This attack seems really good if we're trying to ever stop somebody from escaping the map. I have to say, I'm really enjoying seeing some new magic being explored in our colony as well. When our carrier bird research had finished, I thought it might be good to begin studying some hot air balloons. That way we can visit the Gallifera Order if we ever need more arcane items. Plus, our colony has lots of dragons, and they can fly, so I figured we'd be interested in learning to fly ourselves. Now, I forgot to mention this at the end of the last episode, but I decided initially to give the named plate armor to Ryo, but later decided Valor suited the armor more, so we'd give it to him instead. And he will get some good use out of it, as we've accepted a warrant on Leonid Meldes with House Boys, so we can improve our relationship with their faction. Which have fallen a little bit. I can't quite remember why. I think it's because we attacked one of them by accident. Regardless, our group would head out, travelling to the site that this embezzling scoundrel is hiding out at, so we can bring him to justice. When we had arrived, we would spot him patrolling outside with some guards. There were more of them than we had expected. We would move into battle, forming a wall to hold our ground, while Cryos shot a fireball at them to start with. Our squad would engage with their first wave, while Cryos would fly by to attack their archers. We would make pretty quick work of this group, even though there were many of them. Valor would take on 2 on his own, which I thought was pretty impressive. Our target would begin to attempt to escape, knowing that he might be captured, and in doing this, Danders had to kill him. Which is fine, as we'll still get some good silver from House Boys for a confirmed kill, but it means we'll need to take the body back, so we'd throw it on the rocks and head home. But now you may ask, how will we get to House Boys? Well, we can use the hot air balloons that we've just finished researching now. Bryn would go ahead and construct our first air-based vehicle out the back of a hole. These use coal as fuel, which is pretty good as we have heaps and heaps of coal. This won't be an issue. And in the rainy night, Duplat would get our warrant's body loaded onto the hot air balloon before our whole colony would gather the next day to send Ryo and Valor off on their mission. I wish Larry was here to see this, since he was one of the terrible airship pilots that crashed in our area prior to joining us, just like me and Ernest. And up and away, they would fly off, heading towards House Boys. When they arrived, we would complete the warrant. After a few days of flying, that is, completing this mission. But while we await for Ryo and Valor to return, we would receive a couple of items from our scavenging outpost. That being a Skysteel War scythe, which is pretty normal to us, but also a wheel-lock dragon pistol. Masterwork as well. This thing does some great damage, and it looks like nothing we've ever seen before. It's a little late medieval, maybe a little bit early industrial, but I still think it fits the aesthetic. And the lucky person getting this weapon is indeed Robert, who, along with a couple of other characters, will now receive proper names. We would go with the name Bronson for Robert, from commenter Zombie King 93, who says he needs a strong name. Frankly, I couldn't agree more, and I think Bronson sounds quite mighty. Next is Gladys, who I never really mentioned that we recruited. She's been a bit of a side character up until now. But that should change with her new name, Delilah, from user MuckMuck3403, who has suggested a few names, but I like Delilah the most. And finally, Chalcedon's bonded purple dragon will now be known as Constantine. Also coming from MuckMuck's suggestions, this was actually for a female character called Constance, but I decided to make the name a little bit more masculine, as he is a male, and I think this name is quite fitting. But with all the naming out of the way, we would focus back on the base, specifically building a couple of the Sapphire Arcane turrets in our defensive towers. These take Onyx to refuel, so we'll also have to begin mining them. I really can't wait to see these in action, they look so cool. We'd also focus on some overdue upgrades, finishing our path to the cathedral, as well as the Morgan's house in the south part, plus the farm, only to be interrupted by the news that Delilah and Bjorn are now lovers. How exciting! It says he wooed her with talk of his plant growing skills, but since he has very little of that, I might just call him out as a bit of a liar here. I can't doubt his charisma though. Moving on, we'd continue with our research for today, looking into exploration, which will unlock the Explorer's Table, which could lead us to some more ruins or dungeons in the future. But while on the topic of exploration, we would decide to explore the steel ingot mining site right next to Marriott Vale Mines to bring home a massive amount of steel, which will be put to good use preparing for our attack on Silverhearth. There were 17 brigand miners here, but we would make short work of them between our magic, dragons, and overall good combat skills. They would put up a good fight, but honestly, I expected a bit more, considering how outnumbered we were. Either way, we would walk away with a sizable loot of steel, which upon our return to Morgan's Hold, we'd have Ryo begin using for all sorts of armor for our people as we draw closer to the date of the attack. Next up, we'd have a growth moment for Nadine, choosing to keep her as a colonist. She might get kicked out with that awful hairstyle though. Kiko would finish up our research into the Explorer's workbench shortly later, and we decided to throw one down. All we can do for now is search for materials, similar to the mineral scanner in the base game, but I'm hoping that we can use it for much more in the future. I will note the graphic looks like the chair is on the wrong side. You'd think the paper would be right in front of where you'd be sitting, but that's enough about my gripes for the Explorer's Bench graphics. We have a massive group of unholds that have come to kill us. And although I was a little bit scared, I must say it's very cool to finally witness the Sapphire Pylons work their magic. I think I called these turrets earlier, they're actually called pylons. Just wanted to get that terminology correct. And despite bringing additional colonists in to attack the beasts at range, they would breach our front gates. If you remember our attack on one of their lairs from a previous video, you know these trolls are not to be messed with. So we'd bring out some of our greatest warriors to fight them. Ryo, Valor, and our dragons would meet them in combat and performed very well. It seems we are becoming stronger and stronger day by day. A few years ago, this probably would have been game over for our colony, but today we stand tall against all foes, human and weird troll creature alike. A couple of days later in the evening, we would have a send-off party for all of the colonists heading out to Silverhearth that everybody in the colony would attend. It also might have been a birthday for Bronson as he became an adult, gaining shooting, melee, and construction passions, as well as the hardy trait, as I wanted to round him out to become a future champion warrior. But that'll have to wait, as we've split the colony into with Ryo, Nora, and Valor leading our team on the mission, with some of our greatest warriors and our powerful dragon companions. While Kiko and Chantilly's will lead our other colonists and the group of children, defending Morgan's Hold with their lives. I'm sure everybody will be nice and safe. I did think about having Bryn join the attacking party, but she's 71 years old now, and I thought she and Icemall would be better here defending. But with all that, we're going to send our colonists out on their mission to attack Silverhearth and take it from the bandits. I want to thank you all once again for watching. You should really stick around for the next video. It is probably my favorite that I've made so far. I put so much effort into the next one. I was sort of working on it while trying to finish this video off, which is why it's coming out quite late. There's been some stuff that I did in the next video that I haven't done so far this season, which I think is, I liked making it, so I hope you guys all enjoy the next one. And I will see you then. Goodbye.
Danders, Edmund, I think I'm ready to talk about what happened at Dux's fortress after you all left. It hurt for so long to think about, but I'm finally ready to speak.
Go ahead, Platt. We're here to listen to you.
Shortly after you and Dux had left, Midori, my wife, came to the fortress to help me lead. On the day the Haunts attacked, I was the last line of defense for her, and I failed. She was taken and I was left to rot in a cell until you all saved me.
We will get her back, Platt. Don't you worry about that. Our plans are much bigger than just taking Silverhearth.